Today's edition of Coffee with Coach Caffey, we're going to talk about building confidence in athletes, and really all the things we did you can apply to your personal life and to your business, and so you know, I think anytime you go into a situation where they have not been successful, one of the major issues is to make them believe that they can be successful. And so we had a saying that said, "Believe and achieve." And so, you know, we really felt like if you didn't develop that belief in your athletes, or the confidence in your athletes that they could be successful, you never were going to make it. And so that was one of the first things that we tried to do. We had set as our goal at Brentwood Christian that when kids finished our program there, in our athletic program, they would be strong, confident Christian young men and women. Well, we really couldn't say the Christian part at some of the public schools we were at, but same goal. We wanted to be strong and confident, and to be Christ-like. We held up Jesus Christ as an example of a strong, confident, person that walked this earth, and so we wanted to be Christ-like in that. And I've been watching a presenter on YouTube named Jordan Peterson, and he's a clinical psychologist out of Canada, and a little bit controversial because he is conservative, and a lot of the liberals like to jump on him about different things, but you know, he's really against identity politics and things like that. But you know, one of the things that he said, you know, goes right along with what we've always done. And you know, sometimes when you watch somebody lecture, it kind of reinforces what you're doing. But he encouraged people to set high goals, set the mark high. Don't be the kind of person that just shoots for the low-hanging fruit. And he also said, you know, the way you accomplish reaching for those high goals is you set small, attainable goals that stretch you. And he also said that you try to get to be better each day. Well, you know, that kind of goes along with what old Spike Dykes used to say. He used to say, you need to dare greatly. So we would often ask this question. The Brentwood kids would know the answer to this. I don't know if all of you would. We would ask them, how do you eat an elephant? Well, we said, one bite at a time. And that's the way we approach to getting better, is one bite at a time, or just a little bit at a time. So one of the ways we did that is you know, we had these T-shirt clubs, and some people nowadays, if you talk about T-shirt clubs, that may be time has passed on that, but we always found it to be motivational, because kids wanted to wear the top T-shirt. They wanted to be a top cat, or top bear, or top Wolverine. And so we set those goals, and some of them were really out of reach for a lot of our kids, but others, you know, they were attainable. But we had some intermediate goals that we'd set. So we did this through things like jump rope. And so we tested jump rope every time we got a chance. At some places, we tested every day. So we would have one jump and one count, and then we would strive to get better each day. Well, you know, we'd have some kids that start out jumping maybe 50 or 60 jumps in 60 seconds. That was our time period, and our goal was to jump 200 or 190. And so you think, well, that kid will never reach that. But the next day you jump, and they jump 5 more, and the next day they jump, and they jump, maybe 6 or 7 more, and that goes on for a couple of weeks, and they're jumping over 100, and their improvement is dramatic. Their foot quickness is better, their endurance, some of that is just endurance, gets better, and so what happens as a result of that is they feel better about themselves. And we tell them, we also ask them who are you competing against? Of course, the kids knew the answer to this. It was yourself. And so, you don't want the kids to compare themselves to other people. You want them to compare themselves to themselves. And so as they gradually have gotten better, they can jump 40, 50 times more in 60 seconds than they used to could. They start believing, have more confidence in themselves, and gradually they've improved what they can do. We would also do that in things like 400 meters. We used to have a 50-second run, which was we'd line the kids up, they'd all get a partner, and they'd run as far as they could in 50 seconds. And then their partner would put down their popsicle stick with their name on it inside the track. And then the next week we'd test again. We'd run a 50-second run and see. And the goal was to get all the way around the track in 50 seconds. Few attained that goal for us, but as they got closer and closer, they could see the progress they were making, and they were competing against themselves. So, we just get better each day. The next thing we did to develop confidence is we wanted to coach them up. I didn't really want coaches around that were always that tore kids down. We wanted to build them up. We wanted to encourage them, to be an encourager, like Barnabas in the Bible. And so we would, we would find things that they could be successful at, and most of these things I've talked about were in the off season, but during the season we would find things. Okay, this kid, he's a good pass blocker, but he can't knock anybody off the ball. And so we'd put him in a situation where he didn't have to do things that he wasn't able to do. If your offensive line can't pull, don't ask them to pull. Have them all come off in zone block. Don't put them in situations where they're probably not going to be successful. I know when I was at White Deer, we had a really strong happy team in our district, and so we studied and we said, well, if we're going to win the district championship, we're going to have to beat happy by throwing the football, because they were really physical on defense, and we had a pretty good idea that we could not line up and run off tackle against those guys. And so we did, and it was a real exciting ball game. We had to come from behind to beat them, but we did, late in the game, and by throwing the football, and big victory for us to win that district championship. So I think that's a big deal, is analyze what you need to do to win and put those kids in that situation. Next thing that we talk to kids about is be careful about who you choose to hang out with. Some people just bring you down, and they may have low self-esteem, may have issues at home, or I don't know why, but some people are very negative, and they'll involve you in really negative situations. Those people sometimes may be involved in drugs and alcohol, or they just may be critical of you. Well, I would encourage you to separate yourself from those people. I've always told kids that be careful about who you marry. because you want to marry somebody that helps you. And I really have told my children that you want to marry somebody that helps you get to heaven. And so, and you're better off not marrying than to marry somebody and get into a bad marriage. But you know, who you surround yourself with can have a tremendous impact upon you and your success and your happiness. And so, surround yourself with positive people. You know, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is what you think about. You know, there's some people that put a lot of negative thoughts into their brain, and so we always talk to kids about that. You know, it's that old computer adage. Probably no one says it anymore, but garbage in and garbage out. Well, you put garbage in your mind all day long, and then eventually garbage is coming out. And so be careful what you look at, what you watch on TV, what you read on the internet, those kinds of things, because that can really affect the kind of person you are and what you really think about. You know, the Bible says whatever is pure, whatever is noble, those are the kinds of things you should think about. I have today, my coffee cup is the cup my wife brought me from the cafe in Honolulu, Hawaii, that came from that little cafe of 50 First Dates. And so, you know, she got to go and do some things that I didn't get to do because I was coaching, but she went over to watch John David's team play in Hawaii, and I got a cup out of that deal, but she got to have a lot of fun. So I guess I better stop. The dogs are getting stirred up now, but anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.